Hi, John.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, we first want to hear a little bit about where you work.
So I'm a soil scientist. I work for Mattapique Soil and Environmental Consultants. We do a bunch of different stuff, but we mostly do, and we mostly like looking at soils for archaeologists. We work in the Mid-Atlantic region and the Northeast, and occasionally we have to go a little further afield to exotic places.
You travel quite a bit, don't you, for your job?
Ooh, I do travel some. I'm getting old, so I try not to travel near as much as I used to. But yes, there is some travel for sure.
So, what is your favorite thing about your job?
It's different every day, or it's different most days. I get to be outside a lot. I'm not stuck in the office all the time, and I get to tell a story when I'm working, or at least I get to tell the story that the soil wants to tell. So it's pretty neat.
No, that's super cool and so important for archaeologists to work with professionals like you. I mean, we've had you out to lots of our projects, so getting your opinion is always super valuable. Well, how did you get into archaeology and soil science, and what has kept you in it all these years?
So I don't really remember how I got into archaeology. I just always thought it was kind of neat. Um, I got into soils by accident. That's how everybody gets into soils. But I've always enjoyed the process side of archaeology, sort of site formation and natural processes, more than I've liked the behavior side. So when I stumbled into soil science, it was just a great fit. And again, I just really enjoy being in the field and telling the soil story and maybe helping explain the archaeological site a little bit.
No, and like you said, I mean, it's absolutely key for archaeologists to understand soils. And I think that so often archaeologists think we know a lot more about soils than we might otherwise. So getting an expert opinion on sites is really important. So to that point, I want to hear about your Maryland Archaeology Month topic. What did you write about?
So X-ray diffraction is a laboratory technique that lets you identify mineralogy. Um, you bombard a sample with a characteristic X-ray, and then the angle at which those X-rays are returned is dependent on the lattice spacing, the crystal spacing within the mineral, and that helps you identify the minerals. So you could use it on an archaeological site to source materials. So for example, you could maybe look at pre-contact pottery and figure out where the clay for that came from. You could use it to investigate fire areas if you had a question about whether it was actually fired or not, because the mineralogy will change when it's heated. You can use it to identify stratigraphic markers sometimes and help confirm dates of things. So if you had a material that came from outside the region and you knew when it was generated, you could see that it was here, and you could mark that layer, that horizon, by that material. And you can also use it to characterize sort of the environment, the soils and environment of an archaeological site, which then helps you explain to some extent why people might have been living there or how stable the landscape was. It's a nice supportive technique. It's not usually the primary focus, but it can help explain parts of an archaeological site.
Hmm. No, that sounds fascinating. Well, so how do you think innovative technologies like this are going to be improved upon in the future to help archaeologists learn even more about the past?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, so XRD is it's expensive and it's time consuming, and not a lot of people have access to an X-ray diffractometer. So there are now portable XRDs, and that my hope is will make it more accessible, and so you might start to see it used more often on archaeological sites. And I think that could only help. It's not a technique that you use for everything, but okay,
Thanks so much
great,
for your time, John. It was good talking to you.
great. Thanks for having me.